Hey, it's Sol with another video, and this is going to be hopefully probably the last video that I do before I head down to BlizzCon. There's like nothing on screen that I have right here for the purpose of to warn you folks that there are spoilers incoming. I'm going to be talking about things that are more than likely going to be announced at BlizzCon in just a couple of days. But if you're ready and you clicked here for the sole purpose of checking out what spoilery things that I'm going to talk about, well, here we go. Boom! This image right here. It started to circulate over the weekend, and it came alongside. Let me move this particular image right here. Now, the image itself is incredibly convincing. It's super high quality. It's the kind of thing where if it's fake, wow, you must have a lot of talent and a lot of time on your hands to produce something like this, only for it to be a fake image, or it's real. Now, let me make it very, very clear that this image right here that I'm moving around, that we're not entirely sure if this is doctored. There are small things that give me like just a little bit of pause before I want to say, oh yeah, this is definitely real. And it has to do with these little, with the little colon right here where it says WoW Shadowlands, but then above it doesn't say WoW Shadowlands, it just says WoW Shadowlands, but it's a typo. That's really small potatoes that you figure that you wouldn't want to have there. But at the same time, well, who knows? This image though, which I have kind of blown up here so it doesn't look quite as clear as it possibly could, this image is real. This is actually taken off of the gear.blizzard.com website. The people over at MMO Champion and Wowhead uncovered this, so now we know this image of the Lich King is absolutely real. But what does that mean? Because there is another image, let me try to move some stuff, and okay, there's another image here that says World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Enter the Shadowlands, explore the glorious land of, well, whatever. Is this real? And to this, I also have a lot of, not doubt, but I'm going to hold my breath. I'm really teetering on the edge, right? It's like, okay, this is painfully going to be some sort of Shadowlands related expansion, but is this going to be titled World of Warcraft Shadowlands? I'm like 90-something% certain that yes, it is going to be WoW Shadowlands. But there are little things, though, very little things that lend just bits of doubt, and it has to do with the whole Shadowlands title. Like I don't know, the font here doesn't quite seem right. It doesn't seem right that the font just doesn't. I don't know, but it doesn't have a good texture to it. It's very plain. I mean, if you look at the text below it, with the very plain gray and dark shadows, the Shadowlands text has the same thing. So for it to not have any sort of texturing to it, it makes me doubt that this is necessarily real. But everything else looks great. The framing around the logo, it looks incredibly convincing. The descriptions, who knows? These things could all be real. I'm not going to take this off the table now, but I'm not going to entirely say, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be the Shadowlands. Obviously, I'm gushing. I'm like so ranty right now because I'm like, oh my god, this is it, guys. So we're at a weird place that we know certain things. We know this is real. There's no doubt that this is in fact a real image that's coming from the Blizzard store. Everything else is in doubt though. So what can we speculate at this point? We can see plain and clear that Bolvar the Lich King is now up and active. The whole thing with the blue eyes, that I'm going to get into a little bit later, but he's up, he's at him, and he's clearly, he's going to do something. It's been said that the Frozen Throne is like a gateway into the Shadowlands, which really makes the whole analogy of Frozen Throne / toilet being flushed into the Shadowlands. That's gotta be a thing. Please make it a thing. So what is Bolvar doing in this case? Is he going to travel to the Shadowlands? Does he have an agenda? Does he call the adventurers of Azeroth here because something is going on? Or is he under attack? Is someone like Sylvanas going to assault the Frozen Throne itself and try to break into the Shadowlands, and the Lich King is left to finally rise up and defend the place that he's been, I guess, protecting as a jailer of the damned? So why are his eyes blue? There's a lot that we can speculate, and a lot of it's really gonna just come out of my ass here, but perhaps during this particular shot, Bolvar is like, alright, I need to invoke my awesome Lich King powers, so I'm gonna go all out, and then the eyes go blue, invoking the typical powers of the Lich King. But then when they're fiery red, maybe that's when he has more of his humanity back? Maybe the coloring has something to do with that. Maybe the helmet is starting to take over Bolvar's spirit and soul, just kind of like how it did with Arthas, as well as Ner'zhul. But there's an obvious contrast with the red all over his body when he was burned by the dragon's fire. And what's really cool is this mace that I'm trying to point out over here that has a fiery core. What's interesting is the contrast of the blue Lich King eyes, which indicates, control over the dead and the damned, versus the dragon's fire, which is supposed to be kind of life-giving, that came from Alexstrasza. This also ties into what's probably a new Death Knight questline that's going to involve those fiery swords that we had mentioned or that we had seen a couple weeks back. So what else can we take from this image? I guess we can take a quick glance at the armor itself, which seems to either have been replaced or it was morphed in his time encased in ice. Perhaps there's some sort of corruption that's in play, which always turns out kind of weird because now he has like arm plates with skulls and a belt of skulls, and he didn't have that before. Unless he decided, hey, I'm just going to take Arthas' old armor and put some of it on, maybe? I don't know. And his location is worth talking about a little bit as well. Now, on the left-hand side over there, you can see sunlight, and on the right-hand side, you see kind of a more encased, more encased solidified ice. So it definitely does look like we're at the top of Icecrown Citadel, the peak of the Frozen Throne. Since Bolvar's holding onto this big-ass hammer, he either just picked it up and he's ready to go somewhere, he's either off to do battle, or like I was saying earlier in the video, he's getting ready to defend himself. Maybe he just kind of broke out of it and be like, oh heck no, you're trying to get into my house? It's on. Or it could be something like, boom, the eyes go blue. He senses some sort of disturbance in the barrier between the real world and the Shadowlands, and now he needs to rise to action, and so he's getting up and now he's getting ready to do some work. So there are numerous ways that we can go about this. The question comes back to, though, is this World of Warcraft Shadowlands? Still not entirely sure. But let's pivot really quick and get into, well, since we're going to definitely see the Lich King, and we're definitely going to get into a new expansion, are we going to see a new class? And if so, what? It's hard to say with 100% certainty what kind of class we're going to see. Are we going to see a Tinker? Are we going to see a Necromancer? Or like a Rune Mage? Or whatever the heck people have thought of. Fortunately, this image doesn't do anything except for confirm what has been on the mind of a whole lot of people in the speculation side of the community. A picture speaks 1,000 words, but a lot of those words come in the form of questions. There are a lot of things that we don't know about, and I'm excited to find out what's going to happen in just a couple of days. It is a bummer that these leaks are happening in the first place, even worse that it's coming off of Blizzard's own websites, which may not necessarily be, it's not like they're manned by the developers themselves, but it just sucks that the leaks are coming from a spot that's so close to home. At any rate, what do you think of what's going on right now that we know that this particular image is absolutely 125% confirmed? Are you excited for the Shadowlands? Do you dread going? Or do you think it's going to be still something else entirely, despite us seeing the Lich King? For all we know, we might end up turning the story in a totally different direction that we didn't expect. So let me know what you think in a comment below. Of course, like the video if you enjoyed yourself, and subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. I'm going to be doing BlizzCon coverage later this week or so once we really get into things, so don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on our Discord channel as well. That's all the promo stuff, so off I go. You guys have a good one, and until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.